All right, let's get started. Welcome to our monthly district advisor update meeting for October. Should be a pretty short meeting. Not a lot has changed. Everyone is working on their fall data. Things are going pretty well. On the COVID-19 updates here, we have had the webinar with the I forget the name of the group. Anyway, a federal group who helped put on this webinar to talk about student digital equity. I believe you can get a recording through here if you use this link in the agenda here. Of course, you can get to the agenda through our Google website. So. Again, we're just saying we are strongly encouraging districts to submit student digital equity data if you can get it. We are anticipating there may be a requirement due to the CARES Act, but there still is no official word on that yet. Right, advisor updates. Nothing much new here. I just wanted to point out that as we have been going through the work days, I'm sure most of you here have probably been to one already. We still have a work day scheduled for tomorrow. I also wanted to point out that we do have recordings of the main presentations that happen in the morning. So you can get to them through the links down here. So our advisor one, SRS from Min, and PowerSchool presentation here. And those are videos of the recordings. All right, advisor validation, most things are up and running, errors are up and running, reports are up. There's just a few reports that are not relevant to fall that are not turned on yet. So everything's going there. Dashboard, nothing's changed. I've just left these up in case anyone wants to begin looking at the dashboard. The dashboard is loading 2021 data now. So at this point, I think everyone should start to be able to see something in there. Vendor updates, couple of things. First, everyone's certified. I think SRS was the last one who got certified right after our last meeting. Infinite Campus has been working on an issue with I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Possibly some early childhood data from 1920 gets updated. Early childhood data isn't technically part of the follow-up collection, so typically we wouldn't actually pick up any of those updates, but it'll still give you errors. So it's still something I expect we could fix. Let's see here. I see Rob and Michelle on. So any comment about that?
That was actually released in our latest version, 2040.5. So districts can update to 2040.5, and that issue should be resolved for them.
Okay. Is it 20.40.5?
No, it's 2040.5.
Okay. All right. I will update that in the agenda here.
Great. Thank you.
I'm not aware of really any other major issues going on there. PowerSchool, there's a couple of things. The biggest issue was FRL records that weren't publishing for some students who had multiple FRL records last year. I believe they were planning on pushing that out in an update that was probably scheduled for this week. I'm not exactly sure what update that was going to go out in. but it should be very soon.
It did go out this weekend. This is Sherry. It did go out this weekend and it's update 29.31.
Okay. Good to hear. So yeah, if you're having trouble, I think it results in some FRL records not publishing. This will fix that for you after you get the update. So definitely all you Power School districts, please be checking your FRL counts. There's also some existing issues with the 1920 data that haven't been fixed yet. And again, I'll just be doing a mass update fix for these. So if you're a Power School district and you've been republishing your 1920 enrollment or SPED data, you might see these. So one is your enrollment data could have an exit date with no exit type, which is that's just for your students who finished the year. And so you get a validation error for that. I will do a mass cleanup for that at the end of the window. Similar thing with your SPED students who just completed the year might have a SPED 99 exit code on them. And so you'll get an error about the SPED 99 because we expect that to be followed up right with another record. So I'm just going to clean those up for everyone too. So those are both things that Power School will be planning to fix later this year. I think that's all the main issues. All the other, I know we're getting data from all of the other SISs. Not sure if I missed anyone else who's on the call here from one of the other vendors. But if you had anything to say or if anyone has any questions, go ahead. Let me know. You can unmute yourself or put something into the chat.
Max,
Yes.
this is Ellie. So we just ended a meeting with several of our districts. And I'm not sure if this is a question you can answer or not, but I'm gonna throw it out to you and let me know if I need to direct it to someone else. But one of the schools brought up something that they just received. It was initially sent out from Dr. Bloomstead, and talking about instructional time and those professional development days. Are we reading this correctly that those could be counted as instructional days for this year?
I'm not sure what communication went out about that.
Okay, so it looks like it was sent last Thursday. And I'm not sure which group it went to. She shared the email with us because we hadn't received it either. But yes, he directs them back to this page and says there's more information there.
Is it this teacher and principal evaluation document or professional learning?
It says Launch Nebraska Professional Learning and Resources.
Okay, yeah, it's probably this referring to this professional learning in the 2020.
Yeah, so from what I am reading, it sounds like if they have a professional learning day that's focused on effective instruction for students across remote and hybrid or face-to-face learning environments. Keep reading here. And like I said, this just got thrown out to us, so I haven't done much digging yet, but.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read this either, so I don't think I could comment on it offhand, but definitely you can send us a ticket.
Yeah, it was a good thing that they brought up because obviously this will affect those mappings within Power School, and if it ends up that they can map those teacher only days to an instructional day. So
yeah, this is Jill at Indy. I know that the commissioner put that out. I know there were, I think, a maximum number of hours that were allowed for this. I think we're going to just have to come up with more data related guidance on this. You know, it hasn't been out that long, so.
Right. Okay.
Well, you can check in next month. Probably
Okay.
we will bring it up.
We can do that.
So our next meeting is November 11th, which is a holiday for us, but I think we'll have the meeting anyway, since I think everyone else is working that day. So
Max, this is Cheryl from Beatrice. I just wanted to hop back to that digital equity piece. And since there's Infinite Campus people on here too, how diligent should we be working on this right now? I mean, that seems like a daunting task when they talk about calling families and the whole bit when I was in that meeting. What are other districts doing to get this done? And it's not required at this point, but I guess I just have questions about this because it seems like it'll be a huge deal.
Well, this is Jill. If you listen to Dean talk about it, and this is the comments that he'll made, is that some of the GEARS Act money distributions may end up based upon this data. And there's quite a few dollars in that money that the governor has that control over. Did you watch the seminar?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So I don't know how other districts are necessarily handling it, but yeah, we have not mandated it yet. We may have to in the future. But that is why we are saying strongly encouraged at this point in time.
Because when they talk about a team and working in the evenings and the weekends and calling,
Yeah.
you know, that's a lot to expect. And I know it's not you or anybody else, but I just didn't know what others were doing. I know I'm working on a Google form or something to send to our people, and then go back. It's going to take time. So that's going to be my question too, is what kind of a deadline are we looking at? Because this isn't something we can just get done in a month.
Well, and that's unfortunately the date that we were hoping to pull the data was November 15th, because they want to try to make a decision on the GEARS Act money by December the 1st.
Because that, okay.
This is Ellie again, and so we serve all and then beyond that, so several districts. And what we have, we created a Google survey.
Right.
We shared a template with all of the schools that to push out to parents. We also have a product that's an online form submission. So any schools that have purchased that are going that route, because we agreed, we listened to that and just didn't think that right now was a feasible, doable option of having folks call people in the evening. So we knew a digital response was going to be much easier and doable. And several of our districts have already started pushing it out and collecting those responses. And we're actually seeing great response rate and getting good feedback.
But
So
they still need to get it into their SIS. And so that's another step.
Exactly.
So.
Yep. So that's a piece that we're helping with as well. So we're helping with the import of that. And then the beauty of the online form submission, so the product that certain schools have paid for, is once the parent completes it, it's automatically brought in. But, you know, like I said, that's not, every district doesn't have that.
No.
So.
Yeah. This is Wayne from ESU 10, Ellie's co-worker. But one of the things that we learned from doing that Google form, and we're on version 3 of it, is when you put in the answers to a question, let's say, what device do you use? You know, we had desktop and then you have tablet. If we now have numbers in front of it. So we have 1 desktop, 2 tablet. So when you get those responses, it's very, very simple to do a left formula on another sheet and then reference back to the sheet of responses. So you would just do equals left parentheses to the cell in the other sheet, and it'll pull in the 1 or it'll pull in the 2. So then you have your 1s and 2s and 3, 4, 5s that you need to import in. So it makes it a lot simpler. 1 tip.
Okay, then another issue then, how are you, okay, so if you're importing it, what do you use as the primary import field that it knows what student to import it for?
Exactly. And so we've got a document that says, go into your SIS, select all your students, pull out the key field, and also first name, last name, because that first name, last name is one of the fields that we are grabbing on the survey, plus grade level. So we're using last name, first name, and grade level. We'll probably, put all those together in one field to make a key. And then also coming from your SIS, do the same thing, and then just do a lookup, a vertical lookup, and try to find the key field, your student number or student ID. Not everybody's going to type the last name, first name correct, especially, Hispanic last names, have multiple names, and who knows. So there's going to be some manual work there, yes, but that's the best that we have. COZAD Medium-Sized School for Nebraska, COZAD sent out an email with a link to the Google form. They have 638 responses already. So, and I know Logan View had a lot too. They've done that. And then they're going to send out an email. No, they're going to send something home to the parents that haven't responded. I'm trying to get them to, do it. So
What are you doing to reach out to those that may not have internet access at all? Is that where you're relying on the letters sent home to the parents?
correct. I think that's what
Okay.
the schools are doing. Yes.
And do they have an option of contacting the school if they don't have a way of filling it out online?
I guess the way of contacting the school, I think they're going to send out the actual form home where they would fill it out, send it back, with the kid to school or drop it off at the school.
Now, what about parents that have obviously more than one student and you send out a form? Do they have to send out a form for each student? Or how are you doing, like student 1, student 2, or how are you collecting multiple students? I mean, unless you expect it. Go ahead.
Yeah. On the Google form, it specifically says, do one survey, submit one survey for each kid, and it has the grade level there where they have to select a grade level, which kind of forces them into that thinking, oh, I only do one student at a time. Okay. And yes, there is duplicate entry because when they go back in, they get because we're collecting address also on our form, so there's kind of some duplicate entry in there. The paper form, I haven't seen any, but I envision up at the top part it has, the parent's name, possibly their address, and then the questions. And then there's multiple lines for that, maybe 4 or 5 ones, so they can send on one piece of paper, multiple kids.
Thank you. This is helpful because we haven't heard anything really, and it's just a lot of work. So,
yeah.
This is Michelle at CIC. I just wanted to chime in and say for Infinite Campus, you can import based on state ID or.
But how do the parents know what the state ID is?
So there are 2 options that you can import on. I just wanted to chime in because he was talking about how he was, coming up with his unique identifier. For Infinite Campus, there are 2 different unique identifiers you can use during the import process. You can either use state ID or you can use the combination of last name, first name, date of birth.
So we'd have to collect the date of birth, last name, first name, because parents, if we're going to cleanly get this from a Google spreadsheet, we're going to have to manually put it into a spreadsheet with their state ID because parents don't know what that is, correct?
No, I think that can show on the portal, but you're right. I think it might be easier if you used first name, last name, date of birth. Because that's obviously more natural for a parent to know. Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't know. I wouldn't have an idea what my kid's state ID was.
But
Yeah, I
ESU
don't
10,
want to go look either.
And it's not on
ESU
the
10,
portal. I can look.
how are you guys collecting that?
Yeah, Power School doesn't allow first name, last name, date of birth. So that would be, a kind of a simpler way to do it, to actually match up. You're going to have to do a vertical lookups, somehow. Well, with that, I guess you wouldn't have to if you collect those. But
I mean, what are the parents actually seeing in your form?
Oh, in our form, yeah, I don't know if I can't.
They just entering the name.
Yeah, they're just putting the student's first name, last name, and grade level. And so then we're going to use that to then figure out what the student's either state ID, well, ours would have to be the student number in Power School because that's the key field to import. So there's going to be some manual work there doing a vertical lookup in Google Sheets. Yeah. Yeah, I wish Power School would have, date of birth and first name, last name to be able to import on that, but it doesn't. There still would be work with that because not everybody's going to put it in correct, exactly right, but
very much.
But I'd make it a little bit simpler.
Well, thanks everyone for letting us know. Are there any other districts on here that have begun doing student digital equity collections?
It just seems in this, with all the other things that are happening with, now it's state reporting time. It's all the COVID, all the digital learning and all that we have to do. Then they're wanting us to do a major project like this.
Yeah.
I get it, but I just think the timing is terrible. And I think that's asking a lot of the districts. But if we're going to get a lot of money, I guess that's good too.
Well, and I totally agree. And when we first thought about this, it's like, it just seems like such a daunting task, and it was just hard to even kind of wrap our mind around. But as we got into it, I think we can do it, and we've seen good responses. And you don't have to do. I mean, it's not required. And if you don't want any of the money, then that's fine. But
no, we want money.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've really, at ESU 10, we've really pushed all of our districts, encouraged them to do this. And the response has been good from majority of them. So I think, it's kind of like building a house. Don't think of the whole house and, take one room at a time and just, one step, and it is manageable. And the other reason is, why do they need it now? They need it now because they want to get this money out to get the devices and the infrastructure and the connection. If they waited to the end of the year, it's too late. So I understand the timing.
Well, I appreciate an ESU that helps like that. Ours, I haven't heard boo from any of our ESUs. So thank you for being there and helping.
Hi, Cheryl. This is Sherry Schultes.
Yeah.
We do have a Google form that we created for all the Nebraska Power School schools, and we have
we're not Power School. So.
Registration form. We have very similar to what Wayne described. So you're more than welcome to use our Google form. I can send it your way today.
That'd be great. Yeah, I think a lot of it is geared toward Power School. We're not Power School. So we're kind of floundering here. So anyway, if you want to share it, that's great.
I will share it with you. I'll send it your way today. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ready?
Cheryl,
Yes.
Go ahead.
this is Jennifer at Broken Bow.
Yeah.
I'm doing a survey of the questions that are on that, and then they'll be imported into that.
Through Infinite Campus?
Mm-hmm.
Michelle?
You could sure do a survey in Infinite Campus to gather the data. Absolutely. Yep.
I'm asking those questions that are in that digital equity part in IC. I'm asking those exact same questions, and then from what I've been told, when we get our survey results, we should be able to import them into that area.
Are you including then in your survey name, first name, last name, date of birth?
And and date of birth, just in case there's
Yeah.
double dates of birth. And of course, what their enter for their name is not going to be how we have it. You know
So-
that.
So it's basically.
Yeah, there'll be a few of those, but I think you'll get a lot. I think you'll get a majority,
So
You'll
it's
get a good chunk.
basically the same as a
And then I-
Google form. It's just a survey through Infinite Campus.
Yeah, the survey tool in Infinite Campus. Yep,
would-
you
yeah.
bet.
So it's just the
I'm
same.
having-
So, okay.
I'm having trouble with the recipients, but I'm going to be working on that today. But I thought
Yeah,
that would be about the best.
Chris was asking, do you know how it gets sent to whoever it's supposed to go to? Chris, are you talking about how surveys get sent from Infinite Campus to the parents?
Yeah, I'm having a little issue with that, but like I said, I haven't had a lot of time to fiddle with it.
And Chris,
And
I
then I
forget if
think
you
we'll
were
probably
campus. or not.
send out paper ones for the ones that we aren't getting back, and then manually enter them in.
Okay. And sorry, yeah, Chris was talking about how it goes from Power School to NDE. And that is through the learning preferences screen. Yeah. That new learning preferences screen in Power School. And then once it's in there, it publishes to NDE as part of the student demographics. And Chris, no, it does not matter what date you use in Power School there.
Thanks for all the discussion. I appreciate that.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions, comments? All righty. I think we'll call it for today. We will meet again November 11th. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.